Hi, and welcome to another weekly live session that we host here at C Admissions to discuss all things MBA. I'm excited for today's topic. We're shifting a little bit from the 2024-2025 application cycle to move into the upcoming year. This is quite important topic to discuss for those who are starting their MBA journey in the beginning of fall term. In terms of how they should be thinking about opportunities, how they should be thinking about their development in terms of classes that they enroll in and opportunities they accept to work through. But it's also important for those applicants who are considering applying in this application cycle, in this coming application cycle, which is the 2025-2026 application cycle, to think about essentially their goals and planning out what they will be discussing in their MBA applications and how they should be planning the next several months before they before they submit their applications. Before we dive into the session, I will just discuss a bit of logistics. So as typical, as usual, we are on a few different platforms in terms of where we are live. So any of the platform that you're joining, you have a question based on the topic that we're discussing today. Or if you have questions about any other components, please write your questions in the comment of the platform that you're joining us from. We won't share your questions on the screen, so it remains anonymous after this live is over. But I'll read the question out loud so that I can help guide you through this process. If you are watching as a replay, you can definitely add a comment as typical. We do manage and monitor those comments, so we'll be happy to answer questions that follow this live as well. Aside from that, next week we'll be shifting kind of in the same direction. We're not shifting, we're moving in the same direction for the next application cycle, and we'll be discussing topics around, what things you should know if you're applying in the coming application cycle. So that's essentially the components that we'll be discussing. And definitely register, ask your questions so that we can integrate those elements into the presentation when you register. And then, of course, whether you join us live or watch it as a replay, you have components of your question answered in either a question or in terms of what the presentation contains. If you are going through the interview preparation process, we definitely invite you to join. And we have quite a bit of resources, either through our website as well as through our YouTube channel. There's quite a lot of content that you can watch based on your needs that you are going through, whether that's interview preparation, whether that is how to build a resume, and all sorts of different components, how to think about your goals, etc. So with that, why don't we get started? I will be looking at my screen to my right to monitor comments. So again, please write your comments in whichever platform you're joining us from, so that I can integrate those into the presentation and answer as we progress. And I'll try not to touch the table too much because it moves the camera. So I was told that's something that I have to pay close attention to. So why don't we get started? So for those of you who are new to this channel, I want to introduce C Admissions. So we are an MBA coaching firm focused on providing personalized coaching guidance through the business school application process. We have been in business since 2017, and we focus very much on one-on-one coaching. We have a limited number of applicants that we work with every single round to make sure that there is a customizability and guidance that goes hand in hand with the very, very important journey that you're going through at this moment. In terms of who I am the founder. I'm an alumnus of NYU and Yale, and I've been doing this for over 8 years in terms of coaching applicants through this process with a 94% placement rate in terms of those individuals who go through the process that we guide them through, and the admission rate that follows. So today, what I'm going to be covering is most rewarding industries and roles for MBA graduates. We're going to be talking a little bit about what are some of the trends and opportunities that will be available for those who are pursuing MBAs now, and how they should be thinking about. So strategies to maximize your ROI from an MBA while you're in business school, making sure that you are taking advantage of all the opportunities that the business school and its umbrella university offers in terms of making the most of this investment, essentially. We're going to have Q&A at the end, but also, if you have questions as I present, definitely write those in your comments. So why don't we start with a kind of an understanding of what roles, what industries do post-MBA or graduates go into. So if you look at this breakdown, you will see that about 80% of the class goes into finance, consulting, or the tech industry. These are, of course, where a lot of investments in terms of where business school has placed for applicants to leverage. So there is robust recruiting preparation process, strong connections to to industry leaders. There's a steady, proven process in terms of how you are being coached in the MBA journey. However, this does not mean that these are, obviously, there's 20% of applicants who go into other industries. So if you're not interested in finance, consulting, technology, but you want to work in healthcare, you want to work in renewables, you want to work in the automotive industry, there are also opportunities for you. Or you want to have your own startup, those are opportunities, of course, for you. But there are, for some schools, there are less carved pathways, which means that you may need to do a bit more of the legwork in terms of creating opportunities for yourself. So, and this is a top 10 MBA programs that we're looking at here. In terms of some of the trends that we're seeing, this is industry, almost industry agnostic, but these are particularly the AI and machine learning. This is something that we're seeing across the board, very much prevalent, not only in the traditional fields that you would think AI and machine learning apply, which is technology, but also other fields that are looking at digital transformation opportunities. So consulting is one of those, or it could be also opportunities within organizations themselves as an in-house, product manager. So that is something that you may want to consider in terms of what this looks like for you in the future. Now, of course, not everyone is interested in AI. Not everyone has the skills yet to move into this direction. So there's definitely, of course, other opportunities as well where you don't need the technical skills like coding and all sorts of different, engineering skills necessary to work in this space. Other areas that are emerging opportunities is sustainability. So ESG roles are still really strong roles, and as well as green finance. Fintech, of course, there's quite opportunities in this space, and private markets. So private equity, venture capital, real estate, in particular, are surging opportunities in 2025. So what I want to do is actually go through some of the opportunities, some of the emerging trends for the major areas that applicants are going into. I mean, if 80% of the class is made up of finance, consulting, and technology, we want to go into those opportunities and discuss those as you prepare your goals for the upcoming application cycle, for those who are applying, and those who are going into business school, preparing how you're going to make the most out of your MBA journey. So Let's talk a little bit about finance. Investment banking, particular roles have, we're anticipating a surge in 2025. There's obviously this is dependent on the improved markets. So there are going to be quite a bit of opportunities here. Sorry about that. In terms of the salaries that you're going to be anticipating, it goes between 150 and 200,000. This is base plus bonuses. Some of the responsibilities of investment bankers are managing mergers and acquisitions. So M&A, it's quite an important part of your role, especially for those of you who have perhaps private equity ambitions post IB. Obviously, raising capital, financial modeling, and advisory. So if you think about these as being your key responsibilities, if you're looking to go into investment banking, these are essentially the areas that you need to be focusing on in terms of developing the skills that you need in order to make this pivotal transition that you want. And obviously, hiring, even though we're seeing we anticipate a surge in hiring. This also means that there's going to be high competition for those roles. So in order for you to be able to make the transition into investment banking, you need to make sure that you are getting the requisite skills that you need in order to stand out in the applicant pool. This also means that if you're not, coming in with finance background, it may mean that you need to take some courses and trainings that will allow you to present yourself in those spaces as a strong candidate to make the transition. Outside of IB, private equity and venture capital also anticipate hiring increases in 2025, particularly in the real estate segment. So I would say this is going to be an opportunity for those who have prior investment banking experience. So they're still expecting individuals to come in with investment experiences. So I would say don't pitch private equity venture capital to your business school applications if you don't have those experiences already, because obviously this still remains it's a very lucrative job as well as a very competitive market to be able to enter. So yes, there will be hiring increases or hiring opportunities in this space, but the parameters of what their expectations are won't necessarily change. Some of the key responsibilities, obviously, is being able to, understand how to evaluate the company, portfolio management, conducting due diligence. All of these are skills that you will need. And if you don't have these skills yet, think about how you can build those skills so that you can try and move into the space. Either post-MBA or further down the line, these skills will be needed in order for you to make a smooth transition. So it's important that you understand what the skills you need to have in order to make this transition and move your way towards that, in that direction, essentially. In terms of consulting, last year there was a little bit of a scare for a lot of people, but they're still hiring, but most of the roles have been around digital transformation, AI strategy, sustainability, and healthcare. So if any of these areas are of interest to you, you know that you'll need to develop some skills in this space to demonstrate that you'll be obviously a value add to the classroom. In terms of salaries, these are median salaries in the space. So 140 to 200, which is base plus performance bonuses. Obviously, your past experiences do play a role in salaries. In terms of responsibilities, strategic advising, operational improvement, industry analysis. So there is a qualitative and quantitative component to consulting, and of course, when you're in business school, you will need to make sure that you are developing these skills, but also before business school, demonstrating transferable skills will be important, knowing that these are some of the components that they're looking for in candidates. You can come in with, of course, industry experience before moving into consulting, which is something that a lot of MBA candidates do. And you just want to showcase that you have some of the transferable skills that they're looking for in order for you to make a smooth pivot. Of course, when you're in business school, you also want to take courses in alignment with helping you develop these skills so that, of course, you can, eye those MBB roles that most of you are looking to pursue. Technology, unfortunately, is experiencing a downturn. So portfolio management, product management, roles may have some limitations. This is the trends where, some information will be released soon around some, layoffs happening in the tech space. So I would be cautious in terms of, if you're looking to pursue these kinds of roles, really look at the trends of what kind of skills they're looking for and making sure that you are in alignment with that. So if you want product management, know that AI and machine learning are really important. Cloud computing, cybersecurity also play a role. So if you have those skills, you still have opportunities in this space, but not as when we were experiencing the tech boom in terms of like hiring. Things are shifting slightly here. This also means that in the business school application, you want to make sure that you are fully understanding what the market looks like in terms of opportunities, because if, of course, everyone continues to pitch product management in the business school application, there will be limitations in terms of how many people they accept with those goals in mind, given the limitation in opportunities as well. In terms of median salary, it goes from 130 to 180 plus, again, depending on the experiences and what you bring to the table. In terms of responsibilities of a product manager, you are going to be leading cross-functional teams to develop and launch new tech products. This is in the tech space, of course. And when you think about cross-functional teams, part of that leadership involves really being a strong communicator cross-functionally, which means you will be working with some individuals who are highly technical, and you'll need to be able to communicate with them effectively, as well as those individuals who see things from a very macro strategic perspective and be able to communicate the technicals to those and vice versa. So when you think about your preparation, absolutely your pre-MBA experience will be valuable, but also how can you place yourself in environments where you are as much as possible in diverse groups of individuals to help you build those soft skills that are necessary to be a really strong product manager. Most of the work that you're doing is leading the team towards execution and completion of a project and launch of projects within a timeline. And most of the work here is influence. So recognizing where those opportunities lie in terms of you being able to gain the skills that you need to influence others and obviously be of impact in the spaces that you end up going into. Now, if it's going to be AI machine learning type of product management role, you also need to recognize where the opportunities to gain those prerequisite skills, even if you're not an engineer, in terms of being able to at least have some understanding of what AI and ML means beyond, of course, ChatGPT, right? In terms of strategies to maximize your ROI, this is, of course, in terms of your application when you're applying, as well as when you're in the business school. So again, if you are starting your business school journey now, or you are applying in the coming application cycle, This is important to keep in mind. You want to align your career goals with your MBA investment. What does this mean? Well, this means that if you have a goal, if you know that you are you're interested in, let's say, product management, and you want to have exposure to AI, ML, and those kinds of opportunities, well, you should be looking at places that that will offer you those opportunities. So when you're selecting schools, keep that component in mind, even if it's not necessarily a part of the MBA program. So look beyond the MBA, the business school, and see what opportunities lie within the umbrella university. You are going to, of course, irrespective of which area you are looking to go into, look to build in-demand skills and look for schools that offer you those opportunities to build those in-demand skills. I mentioned in earlier slides what some of those emerging trends are, and you want, and we talked a little bit through what are some of the skills that you will need to have, or key responsibilities for each of those segments of jobs that we talked about. So where can you learn those skills most effectively and most in alignment with where your goals, where your long-term goals are leading you? Look at, when you think about M7's top 10, T15 schools, they're going to have a lot of similar resources, but every school is different. And I would look at what resources each business school that you have applied to or are applying to has in terms of helping you get the skills, the resources, the network, the opportunities, the exposures to the spaces that you're looking for. This is not about personal preferences, about sort of like that the what you like in terms of what the brand recognition is. Obviously, that really matters, but it's really being objective as much as possible in terms of your selection process, in terms of what are they going to offer you and how are you going to be able to leverage that to get to your goals. At all times, industry is changing, things move. Obviously, you want to always be informed of what's happening. What are some of the trends in the industry that can impact your future job? Always look for new opportunities that are emerging in the market and recognize that the future of leadership is about continuous learning, and you will have to continue doing that post-MBA. But know that an MBA is going to give you the foundations that you need so that you can build on as you continue to grow. And of course, the highest ROI is going to be offered in the highest growth sectors. I say that, but it's important for you to also remember that there's shift always in sector popularity, and I am of the belief here that you may want to consider, of course, the things that are important to you, or the sectors that are important to you in terms of the impact you want to make long term in that space. We are all contributing. Sometimes we see ourselves as a drop in the ocean, but we are all impacting the sectors that we care about, and it might as well be a sector that you are interested in the impact it has in the long term in that space. So, as a conclusion to the presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have, but what I really want our community here at CA Admissions and all of you watching is to remember that an MBA is just not about just the credential itself. It's not about just adding that MBA after your name. It's really about that strategic investment in your future and recognizing that you really need to be a creator of your own future and making sure that any investments that you're making are in alignment with where you want to go. Of course, the end target is always moving, but you do want to make sure that as much as possible that you're going in the right direction. And obviously, MBA is not a small investment for most people, so make sure that you're doing the right things for yourself and your future goals. If you want to discuss how we can support your application, definitely reach out. You can scan the QR code, go to our CA Admissions website, and schedule a consultation. We are selective in terms of who we work with, not because we are looking to create exclusivity, but it's because we really want to work with individuals who we believe we can support them in this journey, and who are really invested in this process, as it is a huge investment of time to go through in this journey. So I'll be happy to discuss with you your career past. So what experiences have you had, where you're looking to go, and then we can align what you're looking to gain in terms of a support in this process, and align if that's something that, or discuss if that's something that aligns with our offerings here, and obviously move from there. So I will go into questions. I'm going to actually stop sharing screens so that I can move my screen over. Excellent. So we've had some interest in this topic, and we received some questions through our registration form. So we'll put the first question up. So the question is, I'm a military veteran. And the question is, how can I use my military skills coupled with skills that I would learn at business school to create a career in consulting? Military applicants are actually quite popular in the consulting space. You come with a lot of training and a lot of diligence that is very much valued. So I would absolutely look at your opportunities, look at your veteran experiences or military experiences as a value add. Even though it's not an apples to apples comparison, the skills, the training that you received is very, very valued. In terms of what you want to do, oftentimes, this is just the reality of the matter. Oftentimes, military veterans are, when they go into consulting, the easiest transition is to move into operations, because that's something that you are very accustomed to. So that is an area that most likely will be in kind of opportunities that you'll have in consulting. However, that doesn't mean that that's what you want to do. So if you don't want to do operations kind of project, then you want to make sure that you are developing skills in business school that will move in the direction that you want. So if you want to work in AI, machine learning, you want to work in cybersecurity, if you want to work in investment banking, obviously there are components that you need to develop for the spaces, and you can go back and watch this presentation on what are some of the skills that you need to have in order to make that career move. And this doesn't mean that you have to wait until you get into an MBA program to just develop the skills there. If you're moving into investment banking or the financial services space, an area that is really important to them is or a certificate that's really important to them is the CFA. And it's quite a rigorous study, self-study at that. So if you are looking to move into that space, then you may want to start, preparing for at least level 1 of the CFA, so that you can gain and showcase that you are serious about your move into that particular space. But of course, I would say dive deeper into what you want to do long-term, because that informs the skills that you develop in the business school, and obviously the opportunities you say yes to post-MBA. I do have videos on our YouTube channel that talk about how to develop your goals. And we do believe in the methodology that Simon Sinek talks about, which is start with your why. And reverse engineer your goals backwards. So you can definitely watch some of those videos that will help you refine your goals. And you can still do consulting, but of course you are, with every opportunity that you say yes to, it offers you skills to develop that will move you in the direction of where you're looking to go long-term. Okay, last question before we end our session today. So given my blend experience in NGO, financial institutions, and startups, which doesn't align with a typical post-MBA career, would an MBA be the right choice for me? This was a this is a condensed question because it was quite long in the document. So I think we covered what the question was, but I would say that the first and foremost, an MBA is absolutely worth doing if you want to do anything in business. So it will give you the foundational skills to understand all segments of a business, whether you're moving into a traditional post-MBA career or not. Like I mentioned earlier, you risk having to do a lot of the legwork if you attend an institution that is not versed into the space that you're looking to go into. But there are schools that have, that do place candidates in NGOs, like think Yale SOM is one of those schools that has really strong connections to that space. So look for schools that are going to be that have the same value system as you do and have opportunities in the areas that you want to go into. But an MBA is really such a versatile degree that will provide you with a lot of foundational training, especially if you don't come from a business background, that you need in order to move your projects forward and make the impact that you're looking to make. All right, hopefully these were helpful to all of you. Thank you again for joining us and staying. I look forward to our next week's session where we talk about what you should know now if you're applying in the coming application cycle. So if you're interested in that, please register for the event and ask your questions so that we can integrate your questions or our responses into the presentation itself. Thank you again, and I will see you next week.